Andre, good morning to you.
The Morning Roast is live on YouTube right now. Take it away, Bonte.
Save that one. I mean, you know how many people call me Bonta? And I sit there, I honestly, in my head, I sit there and I want to see how long it goes. It's like, wait, you listen to the radio show. Bro. If you watch Warriors pre and post and you still say Bonta, I'd like to see how long it goes.
John is a pro. He asked Sam specifically right off the top, how do you pronounce his name? And that's how you do it.
Dude.
So, you know what's funny is we had my father's retirement party, right, B, that you came to. Mm-hmm. And my aunt, God bless her, listens every day.
Yeah.
She said she got so nervous finally meeting you, she kept calling you Bonta over and over and over again. And God bless you, Auntie Babe, if you're out there. It's all good. I love you. And
Why was she getting nervous meeting me?
Because she loves you so much. She's like your biggest fan. And she's like, I kept calling him Bonta, and I didn't realize until I got about the fourth Bonta in there that I was like, oh, my God. And I was like, just tell him you made a mistake. Like, it's all good.
I had a vice principal at Gene Parker Elementary School, which is the elementary right by the Broadway Tunnel. Now, when we went there, I went there for kindergarten. It got tore down. They rebuilt it. And then we were in North Beach by the old Exploratorium.
Huh? 5 years in kindergarten? 4 years in kindergarten?
I mean, K, 1, 2, 3,
No,
4,
I meant
5.
like repeating the years.
Oh no! I graduated high school as a 17-year-old. Oh, because I'm a September baby.
They wanted to get you the hell on out of there.
I was a September baby. but I had a vice principal call me Bonta every single year. No. Kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. So, by the way, LeBron James just tweeted out, this is funny, the whole blue checkmark brigade. Well, guess my blue checkmark will be gone soon, because if you know me, I ain't paying the $5.
No.
So, I guess all our blue check marks are going to go away. Who cares?
Is there anybody who is like faker on social media than him?
Magic Johnson.
Like him reading the books. Magic Johnson's just funny. Like when he reads the books and like he'll take a photo of the book of him. It's like, Doug, you're not reading. You're on page 1. You've been on page 1 of the Malcolm X book for 10 years.
I know some fake people on social media, but I am not going to name names.
I meant the high profile people, not like.
Okay.
Not us low level snakes in the grass.
I'm saying there's a lot of
you know who's not fake?
Media. Frank Isola.
Frankie Ice, baby.
Frankie Ice, ESPN's Around the Horn at PTI, Sirius XM NBA Radio. The starting lineup Monday through Friday from 7 to 10 a.m. And he is tapped in. Right now the Knicks are playing well. But I got to ask Frank as we say good morning to him. And welcome back to the Morning Roast. Frank, we love talking hoops with you. What was your impressions the other night of Draymond Green? Because we've had this discussion about whether or not the Warriors could sustain this dynasty without Draymond Green. If he opts to opt out of his deal and move on elsewhere. What did you think of his theatrics Tuesday night against the Pelicans?
Yeah, I thought, good morning, first of all. I thought the way that he was carrying on, listen, the NBA's changed. He did enough to get a second technical when he said the word how about 8 times to referee Ed Malloy. So they should thank Ed Malloy for not ejecting him. He could have gotten a second technical for kicking. Who was that in the back of the head?
Herb Jones.
Herb Jones in the back of the head. And I thought the comments after the game was strange. They were giving him all this credit, but he's the reason that they won. When he got the first technical foul, they went from down 9 to down 20.
I know.
I'm not exactly sure how that. Listen, I think the guy is a terrific player. He's so important to everything that they do. But let's face it, he's been walking that fine line. I thought when he was walking off the court with Steve Kerr. Yeah, he didn't want to come out, obviously, and I think he's smart enough to know this is not going to look good if I'm arguing with my coach, so let me put my arm around him. And then I thought what Bob Myers did, I thought he kind of threw him a lifeline, because let's face it, I mean, I don't know how it is in the Bay Area, but whenever something happens with Draymond, it's hard not to think about the fact that he assaulted Jordan Poole during a practice. So this idea that, well, he knows how to walk the fine line but not cross it, well, I mean, that did happen in the NBA Finals against Cleveland, didn't it? And it easily could have happened the other night. The only reason he wasn't kicked out of the game was because of Ed Malloy. And the league has changed. Luka Doncic got a 16 technical last week. The referees, it was on Sunday, the referees in their pool report said that he cursed at them. And that technical got rescinded. And then Draymond the other night said about his 17th goal, it'll be rescinded by the league. That's the way the players feel it. Where the referees don't have any more power. I give Ed Malloy a lot of credit because Ed Malloy showed great restraint not to give Draymond a second technical.
Ed Malloy is probably not the vehicle to be discussing with me because I have my own personal beefs with him. I'm not a big Ed Malloy fan.
What would you have a beef for? You guys have won how many titles?
Ed Malloy is consistently out of position, calling fouls from across 7,000 pounds of bodies.
What are you, Earl Strom? You know what position he's supposed to be in when he's making calls?
He's trailing the play.
Frank, the fact that we know all these names of the referees is one thing. Like, I know when Mark Davis is in town, or when Tony Brothers, or Gucci Man James Williams, or Scott Farr. Like, the fact that we know Natalie Sago.
Hang on. You guys have won all the time. I go drive 90 minutes up to Sacramento and ask them about the officiating, or some other cities that don't win. What do you guys want? Everything? You win all the time, and now you want every call?
No, we do. We want some calls. I mean, they did get a good influence Sunday against Minnesota.
I want to watch a better product, and I just feel like the officials
you got
in general.
The call. You got the Dallas Maverick call that they were whining about.
Oh,
that changed their entire season. A play at the end of the third quarter. I mean, give me a break with Mark.
But Frank, to be fair, in that game there were 5 other missed calls that could have gone in the other direction. We actually broke that game down. But on Draymond,
no. I'm messing with you on that.
Okay,
that's absurd. That is that's a misdirection by the Dallas Mavericks.
Okay, good.
I also think that's why Luka got that technical rescinded. Because I think Cuban must be calling up the league office. I think he's at war with the league office. So they said, all right, we're obviously not going to uphold this protest, but we'll give you Luka back a technical foul, so he's not suspended. How does Luka not have 30? Forget 16. How is he not have 32 technical fouls?
Frank, now that we're here, you've opened the table. Like, I'm watching Luka the other night, Warriors, and look, Draymond is one of the worst. He's the most egregious on this team by a mile, by a country mile. Every possession on defense, complaining, screaming and yelling. Luka, I charted this. Frank, I swear to God, first half only. 21 times he turned and berated an official. Didn't just scream, berated an official. It must be unbelievable if you are one of the officials to have a guy 45 times a game screaming at you on both ends of the floor.
No, it's a great point. I said that a couple of years ago, or the last year. I said that the guy leads the league in complaining, and I should know because I complain all the time as well. So I'm an expert at it. It's completely out of control. It's the league's fault. For letting it get to this point. And you guys know this, and I guarantee Steve Kerr would be the first one to say. It used to be, and we'll look at Steve Kerr's Chicago Bulls teams. They would let Phil Jackson complain to the referees because he's Phil Jackson. They would let Michael Jordan do it because he's Michael Jordan. He's the best player on the team. And then Scottie Pippen gets a little bit of leeway because he's Scottie Pippen, the second best player on the team. So each team has like 3 guys that are allowed to kind of get a little bit of leeway. Steve Kerr wasn't complaining to the referees. That wasn't Judd Booster complaining or Luke Longley. There was a bit of a pecking order. The problem with today's NBA, you ever watch the Boston Celtics play? Grant Williams acts like he's Luka Doncic. He complains and stares at the refs and yells at them just as much as Luka does. It's out of control. The star players have completely crossed the line, but it's also those role players who just have at it with the referees, and the referees stand there and take it. I don't get it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Just real quick, we were having this long Draymond Green conversation. Remove him from Golden State. How is he valued around the league, whether it be financially or for team building? How do other teams, not the Warriors, the other teams, how do they value him?
Well, it's weird, right? Because on that team, he's perfect because he's the leader on defense. When he has the ball in his hands and just the quickness in which he gets the ball and finds an open guy, he's thinking 2 steps ahead, and he's with the perfect couple of players, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. If you could find guys that are somewhat, could he fit in? I'm not saying he's going there. Could he play with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker? I think he could do that. Obviously, he played with Kevin Durant in Golden State and was pretty successful. I think he has to be around the right cast of players. But a big thing, and players don't look at this anymore, and I think even like Lamar Jackson factors into this from football. Draymond is getting up there a little bit, and he has had some injury stuff. So, yes, is he worth making a lot for one season? Absolutely. You sign him to a long-term deal, I don't know. I mean, he's punished. To his credit, his body's taken a pounding. He's played a ton of playoff games. He plays all out all the time. That eventually catches up to you. So let's face it, even if you think he's valuable and you know how good he is, that's also something that other teams, I think, would factor in.
Frank Isola here on the Morning Rush on 95.7 The Game. ESPN's Around the Horn at PTI. Does a great job of Sirius XM NBA radio, the starting lineup Monday through Friday, 7 to 10 a.m. I do have a Wiggins question for you a little bit later in this interview, but we were talking about Dallas and now what are they, 3-9 when Kyrie and Luka plays together? Are we not surprised that that situation hasn't worked out? And what teams would be interested in giving Kyrie any type of money, let alone a multi-year deal?
Well, I think I think most people think you put a player like Kyrie who needs the ball to be successful on a team with Luka. Luka has to have the ball all the time.
Right.
So that doesn't seem to make any sense. Kyrie's another one. Getting Kyrie on a one-year deal, he was playing really well for the Brooklyn Nets on a one-year deal. They went 18-2 over a 20-game stretch. It was the best 20-game stretch in the history of the franchise. And Kyrie at one point was leading the NBA in fourth quarter scoring, and then he went to the Nets and said, okay, I've done well for 20 games. Where's my money now? And the Nets said, well, no, that's not how it works. I would not give Kyrie a long-term contract. I understand that he's a great player. I watched all of his games that he played in Brooklyn. The guy's a brilliant player. He just doesn't play enough. And with Kyrie, it's always something. Forget about how you feel about the vaccination. That was a ton of missed games. He had a thing a couple of years ago where he ghosted the team. He's dealt with injuries. He just doesn't play enough to warrant giving him a long-term deal. You're going to give him 1 year, again, like $50 million? I could see that. He'll be motivated to play. He's certainly good enough to make a crazy wage like that. But somebody will give him the money. I just wouldn't. And not because I don't think he's a good player, not because I don't think he can help you. I think on the right team. Remember, guys, 2 years ago, with him, James Harden, and Kevin Durant, the Nets beat Boston in 5 games. Then they beat Milwaukee in the first 2 games. So over 7 games against Milwaukee and Boston, they went 6-1. And then they all started getting hurt. James Harden got hurt. Kyrie got hurt. They ended up losing to Milwaukee in a Game 7. So Kyrie was part of a team which, for my money 2 years ago, was the best team in the NBA.
Yeah. I was listening to Jaylen Brown last night in the postgame, and he's talking about how they want the number 1 seed. Obviously, Milwaukee getting throttled. There's the Giannis questions. Will he stay there forever? Embiid and Jokic, can these big men win in the playoffs? Do the Warriors still have it? Which of these narratives, or one off the board, do you find to be the most compelling, that should be the number 1 talked about thing for NBA circles as we head into the playoffs?
The West being wide open, so just from the standpoint of Denver, can they do it? Can Jokic and that group make a run as the number 1 seed? I think the other one would certainly be the Golden State Warriors. Everyone kind of keeps waiting for them to get it together, even though on the road they've been a really poor team. And then I think the other one is your old friend Kevin Durant in Phoenix. Can they get it together quick enough to make a run? I think some of that supporting cast clearly isn't as good as it once was, but we also know if Kevin Durant's playing well, you have to defend both Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. That's not going to be easy. The West is completely wide open. I'd be shocked if anybody other than Boston, Milwaukee, and I'll even throw Philadelphia into the mix. If any of those teams, anybody besides those 3 were in the finals, I think it'll be Boston or Milwaukee. And in the West, I don't know, you could probably, let's face it, the way the Lakers are playing, people are now all of a sudden making a case for the Lakers to go on a crazy run. But I don't know if LeBron physically could hold up. I'm pretty sure he's probably carrying an injury. I get it. The playoffs are no back-to-backs, but he's going to have to, for them to win, he's going to have to play 40 minutes a night.
No doubt. Frank Isola here on the Morning Rush on 95.7 The Game. So there's an Andrew Wiggins question with the Golden State Warriors, but real quick, are we underestimating the Sacramento Kings? Because that place in a couple weeks, when they get that first home game after not having a playoff game in 17 years, is going to be bonkers. Are we underestimating the Sacramento Kings? Because it seems like all these other teams, whether it's Minnesota, the Warriors, the Lakers, they're trying to line up for that 6th spot to play Sacramento. But I think it's getting to the point, Frank, where we're kind of underestimating Sacramento and how well they play offensive basketball.
Yeah, that's fair. Defensively, they need to be a little bit better. They've done a great job. The front office up there. It's impossible not to root for Mike Brown. It's great to see what he's done. Sabonis, that was a great trade, one that worked out for both teams, him for Halliburton. I love Kevin Hurt, obviously De'Aaron Fox. The only thing is about underestimating them, I think it's kind of like the Cleveland Cavaliers. Whenever you have these kind of new teams that have never done it, like I always look at it, can they win 3 playoff series? I'm not so sure. It's kind of a new team being in the playoffs. They could win 12 games to get to an NBA Finals. Could they make a little bit of noise? Maybe. But for them, and they know a lot of teams I'm sure a lot of teams privately wouldn't mind playing them just because of their inexperience. And I thought what Draymond said was pretty smart. They'd love to play them in the first round if based on nothing else, then they wouldn't have to travel so much. But I was up there for the last big game they've had, which was really the Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals when Peja Stojakovic could have won the series on that corner 3, and the crowd up there is incredible. Back then, obviously, it was Arco Arena, which completely rocked. They built a much nicer, newer arena, but their fans are going to be breathing fire.
I know. And if the Warriors have to
and
play
I hope
them,
it's them and the Warriors. That's what I'm hoping.
Well, what if the Warriors have to play them without Andrew Wiggins? I think without Andrew Wiggins, it's going to be extremely tough because of all the players you mentioned. Kevin Huerter, Keegan Murray's having a great rookie season. Harrison Barnes, a veteran who probably wants some payback at the Golden State Warriors for being blamed for the 2016 NBA Finals, going 5-32 over the last 3 games of that series. De'Aaron Fox, one of the most clutch players in the league. Wouldn't it be hard for the Warriors to win that series without Andrew Wiggins?
I think so. I mean, we all remember, and we were up, you were up in Boston last year causing all kinds of trouble. Andrew Wiggins was the second best player on the Warriors last year in the NBA Finals. That to me was eye-opening, how well he played, how confident he played. He seemed like he understood that the Warriors really needed him to play at a high level in order to win. So, you look at Andrew Wiggins, he's a laid-back guy. He's almost like his personality sometimes is almost flatline, but he was engaged. He was into it. I think you're right. Again, without him, can the Warriors win 12 playoff games? I mean, they're not going to have home court advantage.
No.
And at least they wouldn't have home court advantage in probably 2 of the series, maybe 3, and they've been a terrible road team. Again, I get their experience, but you also need talent. I think not having Andrew Wiggins would be huge.
From a coverage standpoint, I respect your journalism background, and obviously I think of you as an East Coaster, right? Mm-hmm. Clearly. The way that this has been covered has been fascinating. We're obviously growing as a society and becoming more aware of privacy and mental health, and there's some aspects of this that are filled with landmines that people don't want to trip over. If this were in a different market, would this be covered differently, you think? Just using your background? I'm not saying we're wrong here. I'm actually happy with the growth. I'm just thinking, like, if this were New York or if this was Philly, mm-hmm. I think there'd be some different ways that we talk about this.
Yeah, I mean, the rumors that are out there are unfortunate, but it's also, the guy is, it's a former number 1 overall pick. He was a key player on a team that won a championship. I don't think there's anything wrong with every single day asking the Warriors about it,
right?
And trying to track down Andrew Wiggins, because it is a pretty bizarre story. It's over 20 games now that he's missed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And exactly what
20 games tonight would be 21, Frank.
Yeah, I can't really remember. I'm trying to think. I think early in the season, a few years ago, Drew Holiday missed a lot of time while his wife, I think, was undergoing cancer treatment. So I know there's been situations where players have missed a lot of time, but usually there's some clarification. I kind of think it's fair game from the standpoint if a reporter tracked something down and had people on the record saying something. Again, it is kind of odd that the guy's been out for this long and nobody really knows what the situation is.
Yeah, no doubt about that. We hope he's well, but definitely the Warriors need him as they have 5 games left. Right now they're in the 6th spot. Naz Reid, by the way. Naz Reid, a big injury with the Minnesota Timberwolves. I know you know about Naz Reid. He kills the Warriors. I love this guy.
I want him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's Roselle Catholic. He's a Jersey guy.
No.
Is he?
Yeah.
The Timberwolves have him. They have Karl Anthony Towns. And why am I missing? Oh, and Slow-Mo. Kyle
Slow-Mo.
Henderson.
Yeah. Mully always talks about Slow-Mo, and there was rumors that he was the best player to ever come out of New York City. And everybody's like, yo, calm down. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar played here. Like, relax with Slow-Mo. But he's a nice fit for Minnesota. Slow-Mo.
I'll tell you what. That dude knows how to play. He went to St. Anthony's, which, of course, is Bobby Hurley. Mm-hmm. Danny Hurley's coaching
UConn.
The Final Four.
Yeah.
I think Carl went to Catholic school. I forget which one it was. And then Naz Reid went to Roselle Catholic. Naz Reid, I did the net game when Naz Reid hit a 3 at the buzzer to send the game into overtime. I mean, they invested all these, they traded all these assets for Rudy Gobert. I mean, what's wrong with Naz Reid? I don't know if they should have made that crazy of a trade. That's probably going to come back to haunt.
Talk about a guy who's going to get paid this offseason. Man, he's making himself some money.
Hey, Frank, you're a New Yorker. Watching Aaron Judge get a free swing first at bat against the Giants after basically using them as leverage, in my mind, I'm hearing my dad scream, you think Nolan Ryan would have let him swing the bat? You think Pedro would have let him swing the bat? God, baseball's changed.
It's so true. And I kept thinking when the story originally came out that it looked like he was headed to the Giants. I'm thinking, man, that's going to be a crazy opening day in the Bronx. Chances are it'll snow. It has snowed a bunch of, it never snows all year long. Then on opening day, there are flurries. And I kept thinking maybe it'll be interesting to see Aaron Judge's first at bat. Instead, his first at bat, your Giants groove him pitch, and he hits his first at bat. He hits a home run. You're 100% right about that. Baseball has changed because he clearly used his hometown team as leverage. You know the way it was painted here? What did he? Was it 340 or 360 that he got?
It was not enough from the Giants.
They should have started at $400 million.
Exactly.
When you have a lineup like the Giants, you need to overpay to steal a star from the Yankees.
It's amazing, though. It was treated here like he did the Yankees a huge favor by taking the 340 or 360 million. It's like, you're the Yankees, for crying out loud. He's doing you a favor. But he seems like he's the kind of guy, it seems like all of his teammates like him. They made him captain. Derek Jeter came out of the woodwork and was there the day that he, for his press conference.
Right.
It's a big deal. He's certainly a likable star. But, the one thing about the Yankees when they had that great run in the late 90s into 2000, everyone was judged on whether or not they won a World Series. Yeah. And our guy Aaron Judge has yet to get to a World Series. I know that's, you could say that's being a little harsh, but when Alex Rodriguez came here, it was going to be you either have to win or you're a bum. And Aaron Judge has yet to get out of it. He's yet to win an ALCS.
Yeah, no doubt. They can't get over the Houston Astros. Yankees haven't won since 2009. Frank, you're always good to us, man.
Frankie.
We love conversing with you about the NBA.
Happy
Take care, man. Have a great weekend. Enjoy some
All right,
hoops.
boys. Take care.
Anytime. Frank Isola,
just makes
ESPN's
me
Around the
feel good.
Horn, and PTI, Sirius XM, NBA radio, the starting lineup Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. We got to be